Good evening. January 9th, January 10th, 2021. Going to do the NHL Predictions show here. Did get some information in on how the playoffs are going to work. They're going to be intra-division. So the top four in each of the four divisions are going to get into the playoffs. 4 plays 1, 3 plays 2. Higher seed is gets the home field advantage. 7-game series throughout. Winner of those series go against each other to win, to figure out who gets the division. Third round, they're going to reseed by regular season victories. I'm sure they have a tiebreaker in place, or the amount of points, not victories. It's going to be the amount of points throughout the season, and then they're going to play 7-game series there. As far as the semifinals, and then the Cup finals will be a 7-game series as well. So that's a cool little situation. And again, we've got the North, we've got the West, we've got the Central, we've got the East. So what I'm going to do in this one, I'm going to give you a minimal amount of commentary, because I'd be a lot more knowledgeable about hockey if I ended every sentence with the word "eh." Remember the McKenzie brothers? Who's are eh? But I don't. So I'm an American. Anyway, I'm just going to predict the regular season. When we get to playoff time, then we'll do the playoff stuff. But obviously, whoever I'm saying in the top 4 is who I think is going to be in. And we're going to see what the does to some of these rosters. They had no preseason whatsoever. They had training camp. There's no preseason. There's already some problems. They could end up in a bubble again. There's already a couple of teams that are having outbreaks. So there's going to be bumps and bruises along the way, just like in the NFL. And they're going to have to... The problem is they're going to have a very condensed schedule, where the NFL plays once a week. The NHL is taking what is normally a 6 to 7 month schedule and doing it in 4. Okay? A little less than 4. 5 days less than 4 months. And you're going to have a lot less days off that way. So there's not as much room to play with. Okay, that could be an issue. But we'll see. I'm rooting for him. I want him to get through this. And hopefully this is the only season they're going to have to do this in. And I think that we'll be okay after this. Hopefully come November, we've got a normal hockey season started. Let's hope. Now let's get into this. The North. Brought to you by... Who was that? Scotiabank. Yeah, it's the Scotia North Division. I'm going to go from the bottom up. I'm going to take the Winnipeg Jets to take up the cellar. That's number 7. The Edmonton Oilers in the 6th position. And I'm going to take the... the Ottawa Senators in the 5th position. So then I think my playoff teams are going to go like this. The Vancouver Canucks in 4th. The Montreal Canadiens in 3rd. Calgary Flames in 2nd. And I think the Toronto Maple Leafs, off of a strong previous campaign, are gonna win the North. The Western Division, which is brought to you by Honda. Gotta look this stuff up. The Honda Western Division, I believe, is going to go like this. And instead of 7 teams, they have 8. I think the Minnesota Wild will be in the basement. They'll be in 8th. We'll look at the Anaheim Ducks in 7th, the LA Kings in 6th, and I think the Arizona Coyotes will be in 5th. So my playoff teams right there are going to look like San Jose Sharks in 4th, the Colorado Avalanche in 3rd, the Vegas Golden Knights in 2nd, and the St. Louis Blues in 1st. That should be a good race, actually. The top 2 or 3 in that division should be a dogfight. Central Division, brought to you by Discover, is going to look like this. And they've got 8 teams as well. There's 3 of them with 8, and the North Division only has 7. So the Central Division, we're looking at the Florida Panthers taking up the rear. The Detroit Red Wings in 7th. And boy, remember Scotty Bowman back in the day when they were winning every year? Whew. The 6th place, I'm going to have the Chicago Blackhawks, Columbus Blue Jackets in 5th. And then we're going to look at the Nashville Predators in 4th, getting into the playoffs. The 3rd will be the Carolina Hurricanes. 2nd, the Dallas Stars. And winning division will be in my opinion, we'll see what happens, the defending champion Tampa Bay Lightning. So then we move to the East, brought to you by Mass Mutual. Final of the 4. And we're going to look at the New York Rangers bringing up the rear in 8th place. We're going to look at the New Jersey Devils in 7th and the Buffalo Sabres in 6th. And in 5th, this is going to be controversial, I think, but the Boston Bruins. Boston Bruins, as I make my notes here, Zdeno Chara, they're defensive-men. So when I make a big deviance from the last year, I'm going to say something. Chara ended up leaving because they're going through a little bit of a youth movement up in Boston. And Cam Neely, the GM, said, hey, we're not going to sign you. So he ended up in Washington. It's going to help Washington. But that puts a huge hole in the defensive apparatus for Boston. And I think there's going to be a learning curve there. It's going to be difficult for them to fill it. Patrice Bergeron is going to be their new captain, but he'll fit the leadership vacuum, but he's not going to fill the skillful defensive void that Chara really fulfilled for that franchise. So I think in probably what is going to be the best division in hockey, they're going to go down to 5th. It's going to be painful. 4th place, I've got the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sir Sid's still there. I think you got a lot to love about the Pittsburgh Penguins, but I think there's some better teams. Number 3 is the New York Islanders. Barry Trotz had won a Stanley with the Washington Capitals. I think he's going to have that team in very prime position also. It'll be a dogfight between 3 and 4, quite frankly. 2nd is going to be Washington with Chara being added. I think they're going to be very solid. They're going to be very solid. And the number 1 team coming off of last year, and this team's very dangerous, is the Philadelphia Flyers. So 1 to 4, it's going to be this big in that division. This is a really good division. You can go down to 5 or 6 and find very good teams there. So I'm excited to see what happens in the East. Does that mean that the champion's going to come out of the East? Not necessarily. Once you're in the tournament, you're in the tournament. And they're going to be playing intra-squad, so they're going to be beating the living tar out of each other. But hockey's hockey. I think that's going to happen in all 4 divisions. There's not a fluff division here. I just think the level of competition in the East looks like it's going to be a heck of a lot more. Now, why did I talk a lot more about the East? Because that's really where the franchises that have the most talent and where the most competition is going to be. But when I looked at the Central, you got Tampa Bay and everybody else, in my opinion. And then you have, 1 through 4 are pretty good teams, but I think there's a separation between 1 and the 2 through 4. You go to the West, St. Louis and Vegas are 1A and 1B at this point. You could transpose them very easily. Colorado's going to be good. They're on the rise. So, in San Jose, They're a good club too. And there's some people I'm seeing having Arizona in the playoffs from in what they've been saying. So and they're in, to me, the 5th position. So you go to the North, and yeah, Toronto they're really the class of the division, I think. Calgary's pretty good. Montreal's pretty good. Vancouver's serviceable for sure. That bottom 5, I mean, the bottom 5 through 7, not so sure about them. There'll be some surprises. And again, there's going to be some learning curve here. I can't even pronounce some of the names on some of these teams. Okay, because I don't speak fluent Russian. I don't speak whatever foreign language it is. It's going to be a trip. Okay, and we're going to start this on Wednesday the 13th when the puck drops for reals. And should be a lot of fun. Hope this has been helpful. And keep the receipts. We'll look back at this later. All right? Like, share, comment, subscribe, ringy dingy, get all, and share. Peace out, me homies. See ya.